Have you ever watched a champion fall from grace and wondered if they'll ever taste victory again? For Boston Celtics superstar Jayson Tatum, that devastating moment came crashing down during Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the New York Knicks, when an Achilles injury didn't just end his season, it potentially derailed everything he and the franchise had built together. What followed wasn't just a medical recovery story. It became a psychological warfare between hope and despair, between a man who once carried championship dreams on his shoulders and the harsh reality of grueling rehabilitation that he himself describes as some bull's ***T. For the first time in months, Tatum has pulled back the curtain on what might be the most challenging period of his basketball life, revealing a journey that's equal parts inspiring and heartbreaking. Picture this: TD Garden erupting as their golden boy drives toward another highlight reel finish, the crowd already sensing another magical playoff moment. Then, in an instant that seemed to move in slow motion, Jayson Tatum crumpled to the floor, clutching his Achilles tendon as 20,000 hearts collectively sank into their stomachs. The injury didn't just rob the Celtics of their best player, it stripped away the very foundation of their championship aspirations. This wasn't a minor setback or a routine injury that players shrug off after a few weeks. Achilles injuries are career-altering monsters that have humbled legends from Kobe Bryant to Kevin Durant, leaving even the most resilient athletes questioning whether they'll ever recapture their former dominance. For Tatum, who had spent years perfecting his craft and positioning himself among the NBA's elite talents, the injury represented more than physical trauma. It was a violent interruption to a story that seemed destined for glory, a plot twist that nobody saw coming and nobody wanted to write. In a rare glimpse behind the rehabilitation curtain, Tatum's recent TikTok revelation painted a picture that's both raw and revelatory. "Rehab, it's tedious, man," he confessed, his voice carrying the weight of someone who has discovered that healing hurts more than the original injury ever did. "It's 6 days a week. It's starting to get a little better month by month now." Those words hit differently when you consider the source. This is a man who has spent his entire adult life pushing his body to superhuman limits, who has thrived under the pressure of playoff basketball and clutch moments. Yet here he stands, humbled by the methodical, unglamorous process of rebuilding himself from the ground up. The 6-day-a-week grind he describes isn't the adrenaline-fueled intensity of NBA competition. It's the mind-numbing repetition of basic exercises, the slow progression measured in millimeters rather than highlight reels. It's waking up each morning knowing that today's victory might be simply walking without pain or completing a balance exercise that would have seemed laughably simple just months ago. That first 6 weeks of this was probably the toughest 6 weeks of any point in my life, Tatum admitted, offering a vulnerability rarely seen from professional athletes. These weren't just physical challenges he was describing, but emotional and psychological battles that tested every fiber of his competitive spirit. What makes Tatum's journey particularly compelling is his refreshing honesty about the mental toll of major injury recovery. On day 45 of his rehabilitation, he called the process some bull's ***T. A moment of raw frustration that every injured athlete experiences, but few are willing to acknowledge publicly. This wasn't just physical therapy frustration. It was existential anger at a universe that seemed to have derailed his carefully constructed career trajectory. It was the rage of watching teammates and competitors continue their seasons while he was relegated to the sidelines, measuring progress in tiny increments that felt insignificant compared to the mountain he needed to climb. "I just had to accept it and realize it happened, and now I've got to do everything in my power to get back to who I was and get back to the plan," Tatum explained, revealing the psychological shift that often separates successful recoveries from career-ending disasters. The acceptance phase isn't weakness, it's strategic recognition that fighting the reality of injury only delays the real work of recovery. His emphasis on resilience speaks to something deeper than physical rehabilitation. Professional athletes build their identities around their body's capabilities, around their ability to perform at levels that defy normal human limitations. When that foundation crumbles, Rebuilding requires more than just healing tissue, it demands reconstructing an entire sense of self. Perhaps the most encouraging aspect of Tatum's recent update was his announcement that he's finally out of his walking boot, a milestone that might seem minor to outsiders but represents monumental progress for someone recovering from Achilles surgery. The walking boot phase is psychological torture for elite athletes, a constant reminder of limitation and vulnerability that extends far beyond physical restriction. Better days ahead, but just trying to take it one day at a time, Tatum shared, revealing the measured optimism that characterizes successful long-term recovery. There's no false bravado in his words, no unrealistic promises about miraculous comebacks. Instead, there's the steady determination of someone who has learned to find victory in small daily improvements rather than dramatic breakthroughs. This mindset shift from explosive achievement to gradual progress might actually serve Tatum well in his eventual return. Athletes who learn patience and process-oriented thinking during injury recovery often come back with enhanced mental toughness and deeper appreciation for their physical gifts. The speculation surrounding Tatum's return has become its own subplot, with various voices offering different projections and expectations. His father, Jayson Tatum, has suggested an 8 to 9 month recovery timeline, which would put Jayson's potential return around February. Meanwhile, Celtics team president Rich Gotham has maintained a more cautious approach, refusing to commit to any specific timetable. What I know about JT is that he's going to do everything he can to put us in a position to make a decision, Gotham explained, revealing the delicate balance between hope and realism that characterizes major injury management. He's going to work hard to get back as soon as he can, and we'll see how soon that is. This uncertainty isn't just about medical timelines. It's about the complex interplay between physical healing, performance readiness, and psychological confidence. Tatum won't just need to heal. He'll need to trust his body again, to play with the fearless abandon that made him a superstar without constantly worrying about re-injury. Tatum's injury didn't just affect one player, it triggered an organizational earthquake that has reshaped the entire Celtics landscape. The immediate aftermath saw the team fall to the Knicks in the playoffs, ending their championship dreams in devastating fashion. But the long-term consequences have proven even more dramatic, with their superstar expected to miss most of the upcoming season. The Celtics have been forced into a roster reconstruction that has already claimed several key pieces from their 2023-24 championship squad. All-stars Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis are no longer wearing Celtics green, casualties of a franchise trying to navigate the uncertainty of their cornerstone players' recovery timeline. These moves represent more than just roster management. They're organizational admissions that championship windows can close in an instant, that even the most carefully constructed teams can be undone by the cruel randomness of injury. The Celtics are essentially hitting reset on a championship core, gambling that Tatum will return to form and that they can rebuild competitive pieces around him. As Tatum continues his rehabilitation journey, the ultimate question looms large. Will he return as the same explosive, dominant force that made him one of the NBA's brightest stars? History offers both encouraging and cautioning examples of Achilles injury recoveries, with outcomes ranging from complete restoration to career-altering decline. What separates successful comebacks from disappointing returns often comes down to factors beyond pure physical healing. Mental confidence, movement patterns, and the ability to trust one's body in high-intensity situations all play crucial roles in determining whether an athlete can recapture their former greatness. Tatum's candid discussion of his recovery process suggests someone who understands these challenges intimately. His emphasis on taking things one day at a time and being resilient indicates a mature approach that prioritizes long-term success over short-term milestones. Jayson Tatum's injury and recovery journey represents more than just another sports story. It's a testament to human resilience in the face of devastating setbacks. His willingness to share the brutal reality of rehabilitation, complete with frustration and uncertainty, offers fans a rare glimpse into the psychological battles that accompany major injuries. Whether Tatum returns as a championship-caliber superstar or faces the harsh reality of diminished ability remains to be seen. But his approach to this challenge, marked by honesty, patience, and unwavering determination, suggests someone who understands that true champions are defined not by how they handle success, but by how they respond when everything falls apart. The next chapter of Tatum's career won't be written in rehabilitation facilities or medical evaluations. It will be authored on NBA courts, where he'll need to prove that some bonds between mind, body, and basketball are strong enough to survive even the most devastating breaks. Are you rooting for Tatum's comeback, or do you think Achilles injuries are just too difficult to overcome at the highest level? Drop your thoughts in the comments and smash that like button if you believe in the power of resilience to overcome any obstacle.